So final task for the map reduce filter. In this task 5, we're going to use a filter having done a map and reduce. So it's the same question as we had in the previous examples, but this time what we want to try to do is we want to try to filter out some of the customers for their quotes. So create a vehicle insurance quote for more than one customer, which is what we did in task 4, and filter for those quotes above a specified value. So the specified value is going to be $1,200. All the rest of it is exactly the same as we had. So we're going to do exactly the same as we did before. But what we will want to do then is when we have the mapping, then we will print out the values just like the last time, and then outside of the map we will then take the final array that the map gives us, and we will use a filter on that to filter the insurance quotes and display the name and quote value for each quote. So we will try to now print out the information for the two. So we can print it out to 2 decimal places, or we can just leave it, whatever we decide to do. You can do the 2 fixed if we really want to do that. So how are we going to do it? Well, we're going to set up our constants as before, but we're going to now have another constant called filtered quote value, and we're going to set it to 1200. Then we have our array of objects. Then we have our mapping as before, which has an array of our values. It then does the same thing as before. It reduces those values by multiplying them all, and it returns the name and the quote amount exactly like the last one. But now outside of the mapping we have this insurance quotes array, and we go, I want to filter that, and I want to filter where quote amount is greater than the filtered quote value. So take the quote, look at the quote amount and see if it's greater than the filtered quote value of 1200, and that will now give me a quotes greater than filter in my answer, or as my answer. And then what we do is we simply are going to print out the values. So we're going to do for each quote, we will print out the quote name and we will put it to 2 decimal places. Now you don't have to use the for each, I've just chose to use the for each again to go back over what we had done before. So back into Visual Studio Code, we will right click on the JavaScript folder, go to new file, and we will call the file map reduce filter multiple quotes .js. As before, we will create our variables or our constants, but this time we have this new one called filtered quote value, and we've set that to be 1200. We then define our customer objects within the array. So we have 3. Then we set up our map with our reduce inside. Same as before, but we end up with an insurance quote array, because that's what a map does. It gives me back an array. And then what we want to do is we want to take that array and filter it and give me only those quote amounts which are greater than the 1200. And then we're simply saying the insurance quote's greater than whatever the value is, 1200. Remember, it's a variable, and therefore we put it inside curly braces, and we put a $sign in front of it. But because we want the $, we also have another $. And then we iterate through each of the items in the array, because remember, a map gives me back an array, as does a filter. So now, once again, we can simply right click and go to open an integrated terminal, or we can just do node in the integrated terminal if it's already open, and we will do map, reduce, filter, and if I press the tab key, it should give me that one, because that's a little shortcut, because it knows that there's only one of those, and I press enter, and it gives me Gary was 1440, David was 2880. If we looked at the previous values, we could see that Gary was 1440, David was 2880, and Claire was 1200. So therefore Claire wasn't included because it was not over 1200.